Hey guys, welcome back to KY Coins and Collectibles. And in this video, I want to show you part of my collection that I have a deep connection to, and it's a rich part of history, especially in eastern Kentucky and around where I live, because I've known a lot about it since I was little, and we've always heard stories about it, and it's kind of what eastern Kentucky is known for, and it's coal mining. So a lot of the coal that we have in the eastern part of the U.S. has come from this region, around Hazard, all the way up into West Virginia, up through Ohio and parts of Kentucky. And even parts of Tennessee. Like, this whole area has been very rich in history when it comes to coal mining. And I just kind of wanted to show you a little part of my collection that relates to that. And it's hard for me to believe that I've been collecting coins for so long, and I only have a handful of these. And you may already know what they are, since I'm talking about coal mining and stuff. And these are called Scrips. And what they are, and I'll just give you a brief history and kind of explain what they are. A lot of people know about them, but it's just kind of neat how they were used and kind of what went on during the early 1900s all the way through the 60s and 70s. So these are Scrips, as I said, and different coal companies would pay their employees with a token, which they called Scrips. They had a few other names. So basically, you would work and you'd get paid every week. Well, the coal companies, they were smart. So what they would do is they would put a company store that sold merchandise, food, clothing, just stuff that you would need to live. Because these big coal companies, it would be like a town. They were so big, it would basically be a town. They would have housing, a company store, and it was just a huge town. These coal companies were so big, huge. And they basically would have you, like, you'd be at their mercy if you worked for them. They'd pay you, but they would also pay you in Scrips. And what I mean, they would pay you cash, but they would also pay you in Scrips. So they would let you take out debt at the company store. So if you was working and you was needing groceries or clothing or boots or lamps or anything, like, they'd make you buy your own lamps and picks. A lot of times you had to buy your own. Well, what they would do, if you hadn't been paid yet, you would go to the company store and you would say, I need to buy boots. I don't get paid till next Friday. And they would basically give you a charge account. They would charge you, or like, they'd put you a bill down, like saying, okay, you bought boots for $1, so next time you get paid, you wouldn't get $1. And what they would also do is they would give you these, like, if you needed $1 or $2, because back then, during like the early 1900s up until like 1930s, they would get paid like 60 cents an hour, or $1 an hour was a lot. So a dollar, a lot of these are 50 cents, 25 cents, a couple of them are $1. So that would basically be, $1 would have been an hour's worth of work or more, because they may make $5 a day or $6. So basically, you were at their mercy. And their prices in their stores would be overpriced. So if you had to buy milk and bread, it would be way overpriced, overpriced. So they really just had you. They had you every way possible. They would make double the money off of you. So they had you. They gave you scripts to buy their overpriced stuff, and they paid you in scripts sometimes too. So, and they would charge interest on the money that you had out. So they were making a lot of money off of their workers, not just by having them work underpaid for coal that they would sell, and they got rich. But yeah, that's basically what the script is. They would issue this to their workers, and then you could only use it at their store. So this script or token, whatever you want to call it, it's a script. You could only use it at their store, the company store that it was issued at, and it wasn't transferable. You couldn't take it nowhere else and use it. And in Kentucky, it was really hard to take a dollar script and turn it into cash. Like, they didn't want to do that. So you would just basically, you would have this to use at the store, and they more or less wouldn't give you any change back. It was pretty dirty because you was paying for overpriced items with devalued tokens, pretty much. And these guys, this coal mining was rough stuff. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and I had bought a big collection a while back from a gentleman that actually worked in the coal mines in the late, I believe it was in the 40s. It was around in the 40s, and he actually lived in a coal town, like a coal mining company, a little town, and they would pay him. They would just pay him in script. He said that's all they got paid was in script. So, and the only place he could use it at was at the company store. And out of your pay, say you got paid $4 a day and you worked 5 days, you made $20 a week. You would have to pay rent and stuff to live there. Like, they would have their own housing, so you would have to pay them rent to live in their housing. So when your payday came every other Friday, they would hold your rent. And if you had equipment, you was using equipment of theirs, they would hold out, say, $1 to use their equipment. And then they would hold out $2 for your rent or whatever it was. Like, they would keep that out of your paycheck. And then most of the time they would just pay you in script, and the only place you could spend it was at the company store. So it was pretty bad. It was bad stuff. So I'm trying to look up one more thing to tell you. I'd forgot. Oh yeah, and there was a famous song too called, if you want to hear a song about it, it's by Merle Travis, called 16 Tons. And he talks about how he sold his soul to, or the company store owns his soul, or something like that. He's something, I owe my soul to the company store. So that's Merle Travis, called 16 Tons. Look it up. And it's a good song. It's an older song, and it kind of gives you a good idea about how it was back then. And it was pretty wrong. Because they really had you, and these guys had families, and that's a big part of eastern Kentucky up through Hazard and all the way into West Virginia, the eastern part of the states. It was a big, and these coal companies, they made so much money, but it was off the backs of these hardworking family guys, and they'd pay them just. And they're not even like made of like silver. I mean, they are cheap brass. I mean, you're talking, this one's aluminum. This one kind of looks silver. And I'll tell you, this company made most of the coins, and I believe it was in Cincinnati, Ohio. This Orco, it's the registered, or the Osborne registered company, Cincinnati, Ohio. So I'll let you look at it. This is one of my favorite pieces, and it's $1. And it's from the Four Seam Coal Company, Die Block, Kentucky. So that's a really neat one. Here's another $1 one. And it's really wore out. And here's another one. This one's another Osborne registered company. It says 1 on it. And they say non-transferable. And it usually will say like general store, department store, clothing, non-transferable. Here's the C.I. Mead Coal Company, #1 store, Dayton, Ohio. So these are kind of from all over the place, and a lot of them would have like a hole in it or a number punched out. So this one's got 25 on it, so it's probably 25 cents. But yeah, that's how they would pay their people, and you had to go use this in the store. And basically when they gave you your check every other week, they would pay you in this, or they would pay you in cash minus what you owed them on top of interest sometimes and overpriced items. So they were really robbing people in multiple different ways. But I mean, it's what they had to do. They had families to support and children, and they just had to do what they had to do. But it was just a part of history. I thought y'all might like it. I like these coal scripts. They're really neat. I don't see many of them. I know a few people that still truck and haul some coal through the area. So I'm going to get up with them and see if they have any. And I'll post some pictures of them. But they're kind of hard to find. I've not come across too many of them. I've bought a lot of big collections, and this is pretty much all I've got. I do come across a lot of these fare tokens for like the bus or a transit. I do have a bag full of these. So they'll say like good for 1 fare. I do come across those quite a bit. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do y'all have any scripts? I think they also called them clackers, or there was a couple different names. So it's really neat. It's cool. When you get a second, look it up. These coal miners, they went through a lot. So God bless them. But it was a big part of Eastern Kentucky. I thought it'd be a cool little story for you. So I appreciate y'all hanging around. If you want to know anything else, just let me know. Comment below if you have any scripts. I'd like to hear what y'all think about it. And I appreciate y'all for watching, okay? Please like, share, and subscribe. And y'all have a great night.